guys, and welcome to another video, or if you're new here, I am Genevieve, welcome to the channel. This week in Australia, we've basically gone from 42 degrees in blisteringly dry heat to 22 degrees and thunderstorms and raining. I'm a summer baby through and through. I know everyone complains about the heat here, but I would rather take that than the rain. It's just who I am. But in saying that, that kind of put a damper on the projects that I wanted to do this week, and now I just kind of don't want to do it. So I'm substituting in a project, and that project came from a Pinterest post because, like everything on Pinterest that I see that I like, I need to have it now. And obviously, why buy it when I can make it myself? The Pinterest post in question that I'm referring to is this beautiful thing here. And like many people of my generation, I am a mushroom core aesthetic queen. It just fills my soul with so much joy. And so I decided that I wanted to make these into cute little fridge magnets, which just so happened to coincide with a delivery that I got. And that delivery was foam clay. And you can't just buy this in shops. This will always be my qualm with like people living in America. We can't just buy this. Like you guys can go into like a Michael's or a Lowe's or whatever the place is and just go in and buy this. Same with like Warbler and all that sort of stuff. No, that stuff only comes from online and I have to get it shipped here. So because I'd never seen this before, it's not something that I've ever used, but I've obviously seen a lot of cosplayers use this stuff. And so I only just recently looked into it and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy like a little sample size one and I'm gonna make something for myself. And I didn't know what I wanted to do first because what I actually bought this for was doing like detail works on armor, but I'm currently not working on any armor. So then when these beautiful mushrooms came onto my Pinterest feed, I knew exactly what I was going to be making for my first project. It has now hit me that I don't have any of my sculpting tools. I don't think I brought them to Australia with me from New Zealand, so don't worry about it. That's just going to make this even more of a beginner-friendly tutorial. So let's have a quick look-see. Sculpt using your hands or tools. Once in the shape, leave it to dry. Dried pieces can be heat-formed, sanded, cut, sealed, and painted. Dried pieces can be glued using contact cement or hot glue. This is what I'm saying. This stuff sounds amazing. And I have opened it and I've had like a tiny little play with it. It feels like foam, but if foam was Play-Doh. Like it's so weird because it's squishy, it's moldable, but it's not sticky. Like there is no residue. And it baffles my brain. Work time is approximately 25 to 30 minutes. You can extend this by adding tiny amounts of water to the surface. See, like that part's a bit hard there. So that part's clearly a bit dry. But like you can still just like rework it in like it's freaking slime. We recommend waiting 48 hours before sanding and painting. But this is what I'm saying, when it dries, it's just foam. What are you? You're not gonna believe this, but the magnets I bought for this project to be able to just like sculpt on top of, I can't find it anywhere. Why am I like this?
4 hours later.
They were on top of the fridge. You know, where magnets belong. So yeah, I've got these little fridge magnets. I bought them from Kmart. They're nothing really too special. I just thought they'd be really good to sculpt on top of. So yeah, I'm just gonna quickly scuff up the surface just because that's just like either glass or plastic. I'm not really sure, but I doubt it's gonna be something. That was awful audio. I doubt it's gonna be something that I can actually sculpt on and stick to. So I'm just gonna do that quick. That should be fine. I mean, this is 120 grit as well, so there's only so much marking up we can do. Anyway, shall we? I'm very excited. Like I said, I've played with this on the surface, but I haven't like actually done anything with it yet. Like, it's like chewing gum, but not sticky. And I don't know how else to describe it. Okay, so I guess I'm just trying to mold it into a ball of some sorts. I'm gonna get something like vaguely mushroom shaped to start, and then just... That was a great sound. Oh, you know what? I actually like that. I was going for more of a bulbous mushroom, but I actually kind of like that. More like Feywild. I am going to try and bring it slightly more down, though, because that's not sticking to the magnet. But you know what? If it doesn't stick to it, it's actually kind of fine, because as long as it's got the hole on the back, I can always just glue it in. So it just needs to make sure that it actually sits flat and has a space for it. This really is like modeling marshmallow. Like, it's just such a weird texture. Cool, so I guess I'm just gonna keep fiddling with this until I get a good sort of shape, I guess. Until it's quite mushroomy. Alright, hello, welcome to VoiceOver Jen. I don't actually know how much instruction I'm going to be giving you through this voiceover because you can pretty much see what's happening, but I'm just taking more of the foam clay and creating the gills for underneath the mushroom. This way I could also encapsulate the magnet in 2 different pieces. As you'll see in a second, I get some very interesting tools to help me out. Yep, there we go, back of the comb. This is how I created the actual frills, so I don't want to spend all that time just individually rolling out a bunch of tiny sausages and then trying to fit those together. So this was the easiest way I knew how to do that, which just goes to show, guys, you don't need a bunch of fancy tools to get some fancy products. I also didn't use any other products besides the foam clay, the magnets, and the paint, which you'll see in a moment when we get to that. So this stuff is really moldable and flexible, kind of like Warbler. If you've ever used that before, it can just like melt into itself. I also didn't go back in and sand anything after that. Once they were dried, that is what my finished product was. I tried to create some of the more lily pad mushrooms with the second one, like you saw in the reference photo, but because of how big my magnets were, like you'll just see in a second, it did not work out. Yeah, look at my boy, he bulbous. Yeah, so obviously that didn't work out. So I put the magnet back in the top, but I did really want to have a different style because I didn't want to just have 3 big mushrooms. So you'll see in this next one how I made some quaint mushrooms. So first I started by covering the actual magnet just with a base layer of clay so that anything I built on top of that would stick. Then I really wanted to have some of these like flat mushrooms that I was talking about. I don't actually know the name of them. Maybe you know what, editing Jen, insert here. Huh, well, the more you know. So I still wanted to incorporate this to the other 2, so I did do a normal mushroom on the top, but then like I said, I wanted to do those flat ones all through the front, so I just started sculpting a bunch of itty bitty tiny mushrooms over the front. My plan for this was I've got some modeling grass, so I was going to dunk the fibers in that, and I thought it would be really cute. Okay, I think I'm calling those done. I know they're a little bit like wonky and not quite perfect, like there's a few lumps and bumps and whatever, but like I kind of find them very cute. I think they're quite quirky. I really enjoy this one. I'm going to, when it comes to like painting and everything, I'm going to put some like fake grass around it. Hello. I'm going to put some like fake grass around it, some other details, but I think this was a good way to utilize the big magnets and still have something like cute. And I think they'll make a nice set on the fridge. So yeah, now it's waiting 24 hours for them to dry, and then we're gonna have painting, sanding, whatever, and all the fun stuff. I am worried about this whole thing drying out though, because it is quite stiff already just from me working it and having it open, so definitely need to keep the lid on it. Also, it says work time is approximately 25 to 30 minutes. You can add water to it as well, so I think when it starts like sitting on the shelf for a while or something, I'll just go in and like add a couple drops of water and like squish it around and mix it in. But other than that, it was really fun to work with. I think it's probably better for like more mold making and things like that, where you kind of just shove it into a mold and leave it there. I don't know how good it is for like hand sculpting, but also I didn't have any tools, so it could also be very good for sculpting if you had the right tools and whatever. But even now, these feel a lot more solid than when I started. Like, they're not denting as easily. Like, it dries pretty quickly, and I think those magnets will stay inside even though I haven't glued them in. So yeah, we'll see. Welcome back, day 2. Wait, that was way too aggressive. I need to be more like fairycore. Welcome back to day 2. Alright, we're kicking the day off with painting. It's been 24 hours. I put them on the fridge, actually, to keep them flat and make sure they were out of the way. And the magnets held in perfectly fine, no glue, and they're still there to this day. So I think they're good, honestly. So as I said before, I didn't go in with any primers because I wanted to see how well this would last. And obviously I wanted to try and make this as beginner friendly as possible to see as little things you needed to make this project. And the only downside I can say with that is when I was painting, obviously at certain parts, I had to touch the parts that had been painted. I guess if you leave them for longer, it might set better, but what I will say is that it did get stuck to my fingers and I had to paint over a few parts. Not sure if that's because they were a little bit wet, because I did try and give them time between touching them, obviously. But other than those few touch-ups, the paint went on really well. As you can see, it really holds the color. It doesn't dull too badly. And the only thing I added at the very end was a clear top coat over everything, which I know I said I was trying to not add stuff, but I feel like a clear top coat just in any project is like a standard, just to make sure that all your stuff is sealed in. It just gives that extra layer of protection, and honestly, I feel like that's all you need. Okay, I'm skipping forward to the fun mushroom now because I painted for like half an hour and you don't need to see all of that. So this is the fiber I was talking about before. You can get it from most craft stores, I think, but I specifically got this from a D&D store because it's used to make like terrain and all that sort of stuff, but it's so good. I cannot tell you how good it is. And how I applied it was I waited until all the paint was completely dry so nothing would stick to that part of it. Then I just put some PVA glue around it and just dunked that bad boy in there. And look how good it turned out. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's so good. Anyway, let's get a proper reveal with these bad boys. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me quickly run you through what I think went well and what I think didn't go well. So what I think didn't go so well is that I probably would use a primer to make the paint stick even better, because there were some parts that were peeling, like I said, when I touched it with my fingers, that I had to paint over before I did the clear coat. So if you were making this with anything else that wasn't just a fridge magnet that you needed longevity for, definitely get a primer. However, on the flip side of what went well, you didn't really need the primer if it's for something like this. It's really, really simple, really versatile. You can easily sculpt it by hand. You don't need other tools, and just honestly super beginner friendly. Let me know down in the comments if this video convinced you to buy some foam clay, and let me know what you make with it. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, all of the above. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.